With BFDIA literally 2 episodes away from finishing, and BFDIE currently 1 week away from its final episode, it's pretty obvious who the winners of each season will be. Book will likely win BFDIA as Tennis Ball is going to get out in BFDIA 24, and Needle is nowhere even close to Book's popularity, and okay, BFDIE's winner isn't going to be as clear, so other than me, help me out. But then that begs the question, who's going to win Teapot? There's been a few videos about Teapot 22's elimination, but there's almost been none about who will actually win Teapot, besides now. Yeah, if you haven't guessed already, I'll be deciding who I think will win Teapot. There aren't really any rules to go off of, just who I think has the highest chance of winning will be. This counts for elimination votes, popularity, etc. So without further ado, let's begin. Starting off, we got F tier, or the next boot tier. These are all the contestants that I think will get out in Teapot 22. Mostly 2. And the first one of these contestants is Lie. Now, some of you might be confused as to why Lie, of all people, are this low. But if we look at her voting history, it's not that good. In Teapot 19, Lie would have been screwed if it wasn't for TV's decline in votes over the last few episodes. And despite placing 3rd overall in Teapot 19, having a major arc this episode, and managing to be the last contestant surviving on... She was the last contestant safe on her team. Albeit, not by much, Bottle was easily going to get out no matter what, and also she was put up for elimination against both Pen and Tennis Ball. But you would have imagined that she would have been at least the 2nd contestant safe, right? Now, for the next contestant that's going to get eliminated beside Lie, was actually really difficult to decide. This is mostly because a lot of characters left are pretty interchangeable in terms of votes, but there are 2 contestants that come to mind, Book and Marker. Both of these guys did barely anything all episode, and they also do pretty horribly in some of their recent eliminations. However, with any bias against Book, I think Marker is able to stay. If we look at Book's track record in terms of votes, they're terrible. Getting bottom 2 twice in the first team phase, bottom 2 again in the second, and bottom 3 one time in the third. Now, BFDIA might get Book a bit more votes alongside her whole arc with Pencil. However, if she doesn't have a big moment in an episode, she's pretty much worthless. This is shown greatly in Teapot 16, with her surviving the bottom 2 against Ice Cube, due to pretty much not doing anything in Teapot 15 or 14. And for Marker, well, I think that since he's the only Death Pactor up for elimination, fans of him would switch over to Marker instead of voting someone else. So yeah, that's why I think Book and Lie are pretty clearly the next 2 boots of Teapot. We're now moving on to the not even close tier, where these characters have an extremely low chance of winning Teapot. Or more of like just one character. Yeah, sorry to everyone who wanted Marker to win, but I just don't see that happening. His vote slowly started to decline ever since Teapot 12, and he doesn't really do anything in any recent episode. Like, he did turn green, and he does have his relationship with Tree, but 1, Tree's eliminated, so you can't really do a lot with this, and 2, Marker turning green can only be so cool for so long until it just becomes the norm. And with Marker just barely being able to scrape past Book last elimination, I don't really see him making it past the final 9. Now, this is our largest category, with 4 contestants. These are all contestants that have a somewhat strong chance at winning, but overall, I think that other contestants are just better than these guys. And to start off this tier, we have Donut. Now, we don't really know how he's going to do in Vote to Save, as the last time he was up for elimination was before he got his whole arc with 1. But if we ran off votes, Donut is a Book scenario, where if he does something interesting in an episode, people will vote for him. Like in Teapot 8, when he loses his arms, he gains votes. However, the last time we thought Donut was going to be safe, he ended up getting bottom 3, and the only reason why he survived is because Yellowface and Pillow are boring as hell. So that's why I'm putting him here. He might make it farther than we think he will, but I don't see him actually winning this season. Following Donut, we have Price Tag. Now, Price Tag's an interesting case, as they seem to always be the second safe no matter what. They're a really strong competitor in vote to save. Either that's because they're on a team with nothing characters? Probably. Is it because of their face? Probably. But I don't really see her making far. At most, they'll make it to the final 5 before getting eliminated, so that's why I'm placing them here. They aren't going to win, but they are going to make it far. You know who else isn't going to make it far? Winner and Tennis Ball. Now, Winner does have the whole loser thing going on, and Tennis Ball is currently a very strong competitor in vote to save. But again, I don't see them making it to the final 5, as there are way more popular characters in the show right now. But again, they have a solid chance of winning, but I don't think that's going to happen. Now, this first choice might be wrong, but I'm putting Fanny here. She's a super popular contestant, with her being safe second in pretty much all her eliminations post Teapot 10. She had a great arc with Black Hole, and she's so far involved with the 1 conflict. And with the ending to Teapot 21, there could be a lot of things that could cause people to vote for her. However, if we look at her voting record compared to other contestants, it isn't the greatest. She usually falls second safe, right behind Black Hole. Now, we don't know how she'll do with other contestants, as she wasn't put up for elimination against any of them yet, but I'd imagine she would get around the middle number of votes. Which isn't bad, but compared to some other contestants, it's pretty weak, so that's why I'm putting her in this tier. And Grassy and Pencil. Okay, hear me out. Grassy had a major role this episode, and pretty much became the main character in Modern Teapot. However, if we look at his voting results, they aren't the best. Don't get me wrong, before Teapot 16, he was doing really well with these votes. However, in Teapot 16 and 19, there began a short decline in his votes, and by Teapot 19, he was almost eliminated if Snowball wasn't on his team. However, I do think he has the closest to being in the final tier out of the 3 contestants in this tier. And speaking of Pencil, if it wasn't for one thing, I would have 100% put her in the final tier. However, she's a debuter, and I don't think people would be happy if the winner of the biggest season in the entire show was a debuter. So that would likely cause people to not vote for her, and for her to just barely miss out on the final tier. So yeah, with the second to last tier done, let's move on to the final tier. Okay, let's get them out of the way. The contestants in this tier are Pen, Golf Ball, and Black Hole. These 3 do really well in Vote to Save, are liked by a majority of the community, not in BFDIA, so they can't get the disadvantage that Book and Tennis Ball have, and are all around perfect finalists. But then that begs the question, who out of these 3 will win Teapot? I don't know. Other than Pen and Golf Ball, at the very beginning of Teapot, these characters never had a voting war with one another, so I can't really decide which one of them is going to be the winner of Teapot. But, I guess we'll see in the future. Okay, I'm tired, bye. I want to get this out before BFDIA 24 comes out.